The movie kicks off in Iraq, right in the middle of an Al-Qaeda base. A bunch of extremists are gearing up to execute hostages. That's when Marine John Triton steps in, even though he's not officially supposed to. Guns start blazing as John takes on the terrorists. The fight gets intense, and he's forced to go hand-to-hand, but he manages to take them all down and save the hostages. Despite being the hero of the day, John gets the news he's being honorably discharged from duty. John heads back home on a flight, where his wife, Kate, greets him with excitement. She's thrilled to have him back and looks forward to spending more quality time together. But John struggles to adjust to civilian life. The day-to-day grind just doesn't sit well with him, so he takes up a job as a security guard to stay busy. Meanwhile, a guy named Rome, who's part of a criminal crew, shows up at a jewelry store. His gang members are already inside, blending in. Rome pretends to check out the jewelry, but things quickly take a turn. He knocks out the security guards, while his partner Bennett pulls a gun and orders everyone to get down. Since the back door's bulletproof, Rome grabs a woman and threatens her life to make the manager cooperate. The manager gives in, but surprise! The woman is Angela, another member of Rome's crew, and she pulls a gun on everyone. Rome heads to the back and starts bagging diamonds. Before leaving, the manager pleads with him to make the robbery look legit by roughing him up. Instead, Rome shoots the guy. The gang flees, with Rome firing a machine gun at the cops who arrive on the scene. Another crew member, Morgan, destroys a police car as they make their getaway. Later, detectives suspect someone inside the store was involved in the heist. Back in John's world, he started his new gig as a security officer at a big company. He works shifts with a coworker named Joe. One day, a rich guy walks into the building with his bodyguards, signs in, and then leaves. Joe seems to enjoy the job, appreciating the good pay and low stress, but John finds it boring. They get a call about trouble on the 12th floor. Turns out, the rich guy is harassing his ex-girlfriend. John and Joe step in to stop him. When the guy tries to insult Joe, John steps up and escorts him out of the building. As the bodyguards catch up, the rich guy tries to act tough and picks a fight with John. Big mistake. John takes down the bodyguards and throws the guy through a window. This gets him fired, and Joe gets suspended. Later, the two have a deep conversation. Joe tells John he needs to accept that life has changed and embrace being back home. Motivated, John decides to focus on his wife and enjoy their time together. Meanwhile, Rome and Angela are back at their hotel, reflecting on the day's events. Angela's uneasy about the robbery, but Rome explains he had to kill the manager because the guy recognized him. Everything else, according to Rome, went as planned. While this is happening, Joe gives John a ride home. They're chatting about what happened at work when a news report shows footage of John throwing the rich guy through a window. John feels bad about it, but Kate thinks he might have gone back to work too soon. She suggests a road trip to clear his head, and John agrees. The next day, they hit the road. Everything seems great until they need to stop for gas. They pull into a station, not knowing Rome and his crew are there too. John goes inside to grab snacks and unknowingly crosses paths with Angela and Bennett. Then, a police car pulls into the station, and Rome's gang gets on edge. A young cop chats with Rome about his car, but Morgan sneaks up and shoots him in the head. The chaos escalates as Rome shoots another officer trying to escape. Hearing the commotion, John runs out but gets knocked unconscious by Bennett. Angela adds to the body count by shooting the cashier, and the gang decides to take Kate hostage before speeding off. John wakes up just in time to see the gang's car driving away with Kate. As Morgan shoots at the gas pumps, an explosion sends John flying. Dazed but determined, he gets into a police car to chase them down. He radios for help, letting the cops know about the wounded officers and the hostage situation, and then pushes his car to its limits to catch up. In the getaway car, Angela digs through Kate's belongings and discovers she's married to a Marine. She brushes it off, but the gang's focus shifts when John gets close. Bennett and Morgan fire at John's car, trying to take him out. Rome even tries to run him off the road. Despite the roof of his car getting torn off and being blinded by gunfire, John keeps going. Eventually, he's forced off a cliff, and his car crashes. The gang assumes he's dead, but Kate's anger at them starts to show. Angela threatens her, But Rome reminds everyone that Kate is their leverage. With their vehicle damaged, the gang decides to continue on foot through a swamp. Tensions rise as the journey takes its toll. Meanwhile, Detective Van Buren arrives at the gas station and learns about John's radio message. When he gets word of a car crash nearby, he rushes to the scene, only to find the car empty. Suddenly, John appears, soaking wet from the swamp. He tells Van Buren about Kate's kidnapping, but the detective warns him not to go after the gang alone. John doesn't listen. He's fully committed to rescuing his wife, no matter the risk. As the gang trudges through the swamp, Kate tries to resist, but Bennett keeps her under control. The harsh conditions spark arguments among the crew, especially between Morgan and Vessera. Rome steps in to calm things down, keeping the group focused on their plan to exchange the stolen diamonds for money. In a shocking twist, Rome turns on Vessera and shoots him down without any real explanation, leaving everyone puzzled. Meanwhile, law enforcement teams are scouring the marshlands by air and on foot, determined to track down the gang. John stumbles upon Vessera's body, retrieves his knife, and keeps moving, completely focused on his mission. While this is happening, Rome gets a call from a contact who's expecting the stolen jewels. But Rome has his own plans. He decides to double-cross the guy and keep the loot for himself, basically making everything they've done pointless. At the same time, John's sharp tracking skills are paying off as he closes the gap between him and the gang. He finds himself in a forest clearing, feeling like something is about to go down. Out of nowhere, Bennett jumps at him, but John shakes him off with ease. Then another man accuses John of being a cop and points a gun at him. As John tries to explain he's just there to save his wife, someone else knocks him out cold. John wakes up tied to a chair in a shed, surrounded by two large, shady guys packing up their stash. They're paranoid, thinking the cops are onto them, and they start roughing John up, not buying his story. Thinking on his feet, John claims he's a police officer being tracked via GPS. This freaks the men out, and in the chaos, John takes the opportunity to knock one out and free himself. A brutal fight breaks out, with punches and bodies flying everywhere. Although John loses track of Rome, the crew, and his wife during the commotion, he refuses to give up and picks up their trail again. John eventually finds himself at a riverbank, where he spots Rome, his crew, and Kate entering an old, run-down cabin deep in the marsh. The gang plans to use the cabin as their hideout for the night. Inside, Kate starts subtly working on loosening her restraints while the men head out to find a generator. Morgan goes underground to fix the generator, but gets ambushed by John, who's on a mission and full of fury. Morgan fights back, smashing a bottle over John's head as they trade heavy blows. In the end, John gets the upper hand, finishing Morgan off with a knife before moving on. Outside, Rome makes a call to a contact, asking for a car to be ready at a marina for a quick getaway. Meanwhile, Bennett goes out to get a boat started. John uses this moment to strike, ambushing Bennett. After a fierce fight, John's strength wins out, and he kills Bennett. Detective Van Buren eventually catches up with John and offers to take over the pursuit now that most of the work is done. But after some convincing, Van Buren lets John see his mission through to the end. Back at the cabin, the lights go out, giving Kate the chance she's been waiting for to make a break for it. Angela chases her down, and the two end up in a physical fight. Angela pulls a gun, but before she can do anything, John bursts into the cabin. Rome, however, gets the drop on John and points a gun at him. Just as things get tense, Van Buren steps in, holding a gun to Rome's head and ordering him to drop his weapon. But in a shocking turn, Van Buren reveals he's been working with Rome all along. He demands half of the stolen jewels and tells Rome to kill John. When Van Buren hesitates, John takes the chance to grab him, using him as a shield while Rome opens fire. Chaos erupts as Rome makes a run for it with Kate, leaving John to escape the crumbling cabin just in time. Rome stuffs Kate into the trunk of Van Buren's car and speeds off. Meanwhile, John ends up in the water, where the Coast Guard tries to rescue him. Instead, he flips the situation, grabbing a rifle and taking control of their boat. Rome decides to ditch Van Buren's car and has Angela flag down a semi-truck. Using her charm, she gets close enough to the driver to kill him, and the gang takes off in the stolen truck. John, now on the police boat, hears a radio report about the truck and its location and heads that way. By the time night falls, John reaches the marina. He overhears Rome talking nearby and spots the stolen truck. Kate notices John and creates a distraction, allowing him to sneak up and jump onto the truck. During the chaos, John throws Angela from the moving vehicle, and she gets hit by a bus, killing her instantly. Rome tries to shoot John, but Kate intervenes, knocking the gun out of his hand. Rome, determined to get rid of John, drives the truck through several structures, trying to shake him off. But John holds on until he's finally thrown off. The truck crashes into a building, causing a massive explosion. Rome escapes, leaving Kate chained inside. John rushes after the truck, which ends up in a river. As he tries to save Kate, Rome ambushes him, starting another intense fight. Rome gains the upper hand, knocking John down and delivering brutal blows. At one point, he even grabs a chainsaw, narrowly missing John as he tries to finish him off. Rome starts mocking John about Kate, which gives John a burst of energy. Fueled by adrenaline, John fights back, disarming Rome and beating him into submission. John dives into the river and swims to the truck to rescue Kate. He finds her unconscious, but manages to free her and bring her to the surface. After a tense moment of trying to revive her, Kate finally starts coughing, and John holds her close. Just when it seems like it's all over, Rome makes one last attempt to attack John using a chain. But John counters, throwing Rome and breaking his neck midair, killing him instantly. With the danger finally over, John and Kate share a heartfelt hug and kiss as the police arrive to wrap things up. If you've enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button. Make sure to check out the full movie to experience all the action yourself. Thanks for reading, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates.